It was really great to be doing the final sand on the cabin sole panels just before putting on the first epoxy coat, but getting 3 quality coats on the tops, plus the sides, and 2 on all of the bottoms takes many days actually. Well folks, just a bit of an intermission update. The weather checked me. That's a bit of an explanation as to why there was a pause in the videos coming out. But what I've decided to do now is to get on to mounting the portholes. So now I can get back to fitting these water tanks. So it's finally time to get this bulkhead in.
Strikes by my window, hits my chest right in the morning, like a warning. Could have slept here for days. I felt your heartbeat, felt your mouth breathe, but it's not real. We were close to see the sun, but clouds got in our way. And so
folks, just a bit of an intermission update. The weather checked me in the chest sense. So yeah, I've been stopped in my tracks somewhat over this past week. Here on the sunny coast we've had extreme heat up to 48 degrees right where I am. Just you can't work in that sort of heat with the humidity, followed by just really heavy rain and persistent. And again, the humidity just puts a stop to the epoxy coating and also the next job that I'm going to be doing as well, which I'll explain shortly. And I think that I was disappointed more than you guys, because I really enjoy making the videos and releasing them and seeing your comments. It's a lot of fun for me. We're all in this together and pressing on. I've been doing some small jobs trying to keep the wheels turning, but what I've decided to do now is to get on to mounting the portholes. There's two types of these. There's ones that are going to be fixed to the port frame and non-opening, and then there's the others that have hinges on the top so that they can open. I've been trying to do this for the past week as well, actually, in between the epoxy coating on the cabin sole panels. And the reason I decided not to go ahead and do that is because, as you can imagine, with heavy rain, super high humidity, drilling holes in mild steel, and by the time I drilled enough to warrant mixing up some paint to paint them, they would be damp with the moisture. I'm not exactly under a proper roof. I do get wind blowing rain and moisture in on top of the boat, and so it would have been silly to try and drill those holes and then get some paint on. I would have just trapped moisture. I definitely don't want to do that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and make a start with these. Finally finished coating these pieces, so now I can get back to fitting these water tanks.
I shut my eyes, trying not to speak, pretend that I'm dreaming. I smell your breath, not listening, but I still hear you screaming. Going under, one step away till you hear what I'm saying. Sounds like thunder, and the clouds are closing in. You see, I know this, but the last days in real life I've noticed. Losing focus, breaking up from our life as we know it. If someone had told me that I will take off and find something greener, greener than gold. If someone had told me that I will be strong, I'm gonna run.
So it's finally time to get this bulkhead in. My goodness, have I been waiting a long time. I've got all the insertion rubber adhered and in place so that wherever the tank touches, it's actually sitting on rubber. That's all done now. So it's time to mix up some glue, put it on the ends of this bulkhead, get it in place, screw it, put the bolts through. That's the process. Let's see how it goes.
It's gonna rise and fly and leave the gold between the lines. I turn my head and hold it high, but it's making me shiver. He's not like you, don't want him to. He's more like the river, growing stronger. When you're alone, there's no you in the picture. Paint by number isn't how I want it to. You see, I know this, but the last days in real life I've noticed. Losing focus, breaking up from our life as we know it. If someone had told me.
So it's time to start hanging these portholes. Long time coming, but as I've mentioned before, there's two different types of portholes. There'll be some that are fixed and they won't be opening, others that will be opening. I'll actually have 6 that will open, and that's what I'm going to start on here. On top of the port frame, I've got 2 hinges, and that will allow it to be opened. So the process will be get rid of this tacky plastic and masking tape, which has all gone mouldy with all the wet we've had for 2 weeks. Wipe that down with acetone to just clean that up. Then porthole in place, get them in the right position, mark where the holes need to be drilled, and I'll drill it with 3 drill bits, 3, 5 and then 7mm. After that I'll put some J-ton epoxy paint onto the steel today to seal that off from any moisture getting into it, and then tomorrow second coat, then I can put them in place again. They won't be mounted permanently though, because the whole boat on the decks needs another coat of paint, another 2 coats of polyurethane paint. So what I'll be doing is I'll hang them. They'll be removed once Mistress is down at the marina boatyard. Then I'll recoat the decks, and then these will be able to be mounted permanently.
If someone had told me that I will take off and find something greener, greener than gold. If someone had told me that I will be strong, I'm gonna rise and fly and leave the gold between the lines.
So here's the process. It's quite a bit of mucking around, a whole range of shims used, just timber wedges and pieces, just to get the position correct. Got my stockpile of different thicknesses there. Doing work on your own, as always, just takes so much longer, but it is what it is. The other thing to mention, I've got this rug here because it is so damn hot today, and there's my rag for wiping my brow because I am just dripping. So then once I've got that where I think it might be right, I go down below and have a look at the position of the porthole on the frame, making sure that the distance around the seal is all nice and even. Once I get that right, then I can flip those hinges up, as we'll see in a moment, and mark them and drill them. And just to mention also, that looks so much better than that.
Whatever you do, what we were, now he's my silver lining. Whenever you call, what you say, you're nothing but a gold ring. To be true, say I do, but you're no one I needed in life. Oh, that is why you are stuck between the lines. If someone had told me that I will take off and find something greener, oh, greener than gold. If someone had told me that I will be strong, oh, I'm gonna rise and fly and leave the gold between the lines.
Just to point out, I want to put some little rubber gaskets between the porthole hinges where they'll go onto the coach roof sides, just so that there's no metal on paint that could wear that paint away over time. So I'm going to use a bit of the insertion rubber. I've cut one as the template, and I want to get those edges nice and straight. I could cut these with scissors, which is what I have been doing when using the rubber for other things, but these are going to be potentially seen from the outside, so I just wanted nice straight edges. I've made a very simple little jig here. All I've done is clamped 2 bits of timber onto the table here, and it has a slight gap, enough to pass the blade of the knife. Just made a little mark there for the length, put that rubber to the mark, get the blade out and just cut it in that gap between the two boards. That's that, nice straight edges, just a little 45-degree cut on the corners to get the shape. Well, the morning after the last of the epoxy coating, and my goodness, these are just bling, bling, bling. I don't know if it's coming out on the camera, but my goodness, I am so happy with these. Honestly, in person looking at these, they are just so shiny. It is really nice. Everywhere you look, there's just super glossy and beautifully finished rosewood cabin sole. This has come up exactly like I wanted. So join me in the next video, everybody, where the good progress continues. So the only thing that remains is to put the polyurethane coating on top, and on the last coat I'll be using this powder, which is non-skid. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell and share. I'd really appreciate that.